Hello and welcome back to the Property Pilot. Today we're going to discover 10 ways how to find below market value properties. Right, welcome back. So today we're going to find out 10 ways on how to discover and how to find below market value properties. A really important video. So before we kick off, what actually is a below market value property and why is it so important that we find these types of deals? So as the name suggests, finding a property that's below market value, you're securing a property that is below what the value of that property is. And of course, the reason why we want to do that is because it gives us an increased margin. It gives us a larger margin for safety, and normally it enhances our figures, our return on investment figures. So the more buffer you can build into your figures, and by purchasing a property at the lowest possible price compared to what you're prepared to pay for it, not only are you going to deliver exceptional returns, but you're building a nice margin of safety. So if things do go wrong, and sometimes they do in property, sometimes things do go wrong, you're able to cover that because you've purchased it at such a great price. Another reason why you may actually want to consider buying below market value properties is maybe you're actually selling them on, and you could be even selling them on at a slight discount to sell them quickly in a timely manner. So again, that's another key reason why you want to consider buying below market value properties. Now, don't get me wrong, you don't have to. Sometimes if you pay the market value of the property, the figures can still work out and it can still be a great investment. But for those who are actively involved in property and they actually make their money through buying property at the right price, it can be a great way to make an income and to further boost your property game. Okay, so the first way on how to find below market value properties is actually via estate agents themselves. So rather than go on Rightmove and Zoopla, build a relationship with the agents either in your local area or the area which you target. And what they'll tend to do is once they know you, they like you and they trust you, and you've built that relationship together, maybe you've done 2 or 3 deals in the past. Well, actually, what they're going to do is they know exactly what you're looking for, and they'll pick up the phone to you and say, right, Marco, we've got this property. It's a 2-bed back-to-back. It's coming on the market. Before we put it on Rightmove, are you interested? We can do a deal, and maybe we can offer you a slight discount if you're able to complete in a timely manner. So again, by building relationships with agents, they get to know what you like, and of course you tell that agent what you're looking for as well, right? So they can come straight to you rather than list it on Rightmove or Zoopla, because two reasons for this. A, that takes them time, and they want to sell a property in as least possible time as they can, but also that sometimes costs them money. Some agents operate on a variable cost model, so actually putting that additional property on Rightmove or Zoopla, whatever it is, costs them money. So if they can flog it onto one of their investors, someone who's known to them, even at a slight discount, that's not a bad deal for the vendor, for certainty and for speed. Okay, so number 2, how to find properties below market value is ideally you want to be finding properties that are off market. So properties that are not on Rightmove and Zoopla and listed for sale on the traditional online portals. You want to be finding things that are off market, and there's loads of ways how we can do this. Previous way I've mentioned is one, but the majority of this video that's going to follow is all about how to find properties that are off market. Now, don't get me wrong, you can get some great deals that are on market, but that's increasingly harder to do as data is accessed by everyone and that knowledge is shared. So if you can get a deal that's off market and only you're privy to that information and to that data, you can make that your advantage and capitalize on that and secure a really good deal. So number 2 is, we want to be finding properties off market. Number 3, consider using deal sources. I've purchased from deal sources before. It's a great way of finding property that's below market value. You can only do so much as an investor, right? I can't have a relationship with every single agent in the country. It's absolutely impossible, right? It's far better to have a small to medium number of really meaningful relationships than 1,000 relationships with agents that don't really mean much, right? So utilize the deal sources for their relationships. They're going to have better relationships than you with some agents, and they'll be able to secure a better deal on your behalf that you wouldn't have otherwise being able to, because you don't have that relationship with that person. So consider purchasing from deal sources if the deal stacks and if they're actually getting you a genuine below market value deal. Okay, number 4 on how to get below market value properties is in the auction, and I've got 2 tips here. Not actually in the auction itself, again, that's possible, but pre and post auction are things that we all, a lot of people forget and don't take into account. There are 3 things to an auction: before the auction starts, during the auction itself, the live auction, and at the end, the post auction. So you can pick a really good deal up before the actual property goes into the room or the live auction online, you can submit an offer, a credible offer, one that you can complete in a timely manner. Maybe it's slightly below guide price, or maybe it's actually above guide price because the guide price is actually such a low price to entice people in, right? So if you can secure something pre-auction, amazing. During the auction, again, if you want to gamble and wait and try and get a better deal in the auction, again, that's an opportunity. But actually post-auction is where I've had a lot of success, looking at those lots that interest you, that they go unsold at the auction, and can you put in a cheeky deal? Can you put in a cheeky offer, an almost insulting offer, post-auction, you've got nothing to lose, this property didn't sell, and can you pick up that property even at a further discount than it would have otherwise been sold for in the auction? Okay, so fifth way on how to pick up below market value properties. I don't really like this one, but unfortunately it's just human nature, is the 3 Ds. So death, divorce and debt. So unfortunately, if someone is going through a divorce, sometimes they want to get rid of their property and move on and just start a fresh chapter in their life. And that is an opportunity for some people to purchase a property at a great price. Again, coming on to death, unfortunately, when people pass away, whoever inherits, whoever the executors are of that estate, again, sometimes they just want to wipe their hands clean. They don't want the stress. They don't want to deal with any of this, and they want to flog it on. So again, if you know someone that specialises in acquiring these types of property, it could be a great way to working with that particular individual. And lastly, debt. Again, people get themselves into all sorts of trouble when it comes to mortgages. Maybe someone has lost their job and they suddenly can no longer afford to pay that mortgage, and the bank's knocking on the door. They want to repossess the property, and maybe you can actually come in, save the day, stop that property from being repossessed, and again, it's a win-win for everyone. So again, I don't like talking about this kind of stuff, but it happens, and try and see it in a positive way. Try and see it as a win-win, because in all those cases, you can actually help the other person. Okay, so number 6 is by advertising. So consider spending money and investing money on things like Google ads and Facebook ads, where, I see it all the time. I don't really invest in Facebook ads, but I see it when I'm scrolling down my newsfeed every single day. We buy properties in any condition, blah blah blah, we'll pay cash, we'll complete within 7 days, etc, etc, etc. And of course, if you are willing to complete in 7 days and you're paying cash, well, of course, you're not going to be paying the market rate, are you? You're offering speed and certainty, and as a result, you're going to the vendor will be accepting a lesser price. So again, that's one option how you can secure a property below market value and generate those types of leads. Number 7, really old school, really old school, but it does work, is putting adverts in the newspaper and in magazines and print, physical print. I know I sound really old school here, but it does work. People do still read those types of things, and you can generate leads in that manner. Number 8, again, another really old school one. I've had success with this, and it takes a bit of balls. Knock on the door. So, let's just say you're in an area that you specialise in. Maybe you've got a couple of properties and you're looking to further increase your holdings within those areas. Well, don't be afraid to knock on the door. Have a conversation with your neighbour. Have a conversation with, it could be a complete random person who you've never known before. And, just plant the seed, plant that idea. Well, if whoever they are thinking of selling, I'd appreciate if you come to me first. If I can give you a great offer, happy days, we all win. If not, go to an agent and see what you can do there. You've got absolutely nothing to lose. And the nice thing about this is you're building a physical face-to-face relationship. A lot of the time, business nowadays is done via the phone, via Zoom. It's not done face-to-face, and you lose that meaningful touch, right? So if you're willing to actually have the courage and have the strength to knock on someone's door and initiate that conversation, where 99 out of 100 of people are too scared or don't want to do that, again, you're one step of everyone else. So one tip I'd strongly recommend, again, to source below market value properties. Again, you can make it a huge win-win for the other party. They can save on their fees. They don't have to pay their 1.5% agent fee, and they can deduct that from the price. So that's an option, again, to source a really good deal. Okay, so the 9th way to actually find properties below market value is by sending letters directly to the vendors, directly to the people that own those properties, right? It's all about getting this deal off market. So it could be something like this. You know your target area, you found all the addresses, and you write a simple letter, dear sirs, I'm actively looking to purchase more properties in the area. Have you thought about, or are you considering selling your property? I'd love to have a chat with you, hear my details, and feel free to reach out. It can be as basic as that. Really, really simple. Okay, the last one, and this one's a really good tip. I don't think it's one that people are talking about a lot, and it's a really good one to be using now in November 2022, and I think really for the next year or two, is actually by buying in bulk from developers directly. So any developer now that's coming to the end of a development and they've still got units to sell, it could be flats, houses, whatever it actually is, and they haven't actually sold it, and rates have increased substantially since they last financed this development, and they're going to have to change their finance very shortly. Well, they're not going to be too happy, right? They want to offload those properties that are ready for sale very, very shortly. So maybe you can come in, negotiate a deal on a bulk. Maybe you're buying 3 or 4 flats from the same developer, and you can negotiate a really good discount for buying those in bulk and helping that developer sell those units so they don't have to change on to a different term of finance that's going to be potentially more expensive than what they were anticipating 2 or 3 years ago when they initially started this development. So again, consider contacting any new build developers. You can see them on Rightmove, you can filter by new builds, reach out to them, say, right, I've got this cash in the bank, here's my proof of funds, I'm willing to buy in bulk, what deal can we do? And I guarantee you'll be able to get a really, really good deal at this point in time, because rates obviously have increased substantially and no one could forecast this. And that's, with development, it's all about the rate that they're borrowing the money from to actually finance this development. And if those units aren't sold and they have to shift their debt onto slightly different terms, that can be extremely problematic. So they'll be more willing to let a property or properties go at a discount. So I hope these 10 methods of how to source properties below market value actually help, and let me know if you've actually done any of these methods before and had success using these tactics. If you're looking for a bit of help and you're wanting to understand how to better carry out these strategies, and the individual tactics required to carry out these strategies, head to my website www.ms7.uk and reach out to me. Thanks very much for listening, and I hope you've had a great day.